The story about Willie Ragg continues. It's like mopping up cat vomit. It really is the most astonishing scandal and drivel. And the Conservative Party has concluded that it's done its investigation. The High Court of the Conservative Party HQ, has concluded that the money which was involved was not part of what was technically Conservative Party funds, or indeed technically constituency party funds, and therefore they weren't able to say that anything had been done wrong, but that there wasn't a misuse of funds, but there was a pattern of behaviour that fell below the standards expected of MPs. And in response, in a sort of prissy response, the MP himself, who has already lost the whip, has put out a post about it being an enormous privilege representing the people of Fylde since 2010, but pressures on himself and his mother have been too great, and he hopes that the press will now respect his family's privacy. And he's quit the party. And he's also confirmed that he won't be standing at the next election. His decision. My decision. Well, I don't think anybody wanted him to stand at the next election, and I think he'd already said that he wasn't standing at the next election anyway. So this is a foot-stamping exercise to try and have his final word. I'm afraid other people are likely to have the final word. This story has not finished. And, this is a story which started when a whistleblower reported the story to the Times, which had already been reported to the Conservative Party, and 3 months had elapsed before the Conservative Party bothered to do anything. This is about this bizarre story that he rang up a former campaign manager, an elderly former campaign manager, at 3 o'clock in the morning, asking for cash, for thousands of pounds of cash, because, quote, bad people needed it, demanded it, in order for him to be released. It was paid in the end. The amount was slightly inflated by that point. It was paid out of this lady's personal savings and reimbursed out of what seemed to be local party funds. And that's the issue. Those local party funds don't appear to be technically Conservative Party funds, and therefore the investigation was unable to conclude that it was a misuse of Conservative Party funds. This is a misuse of time. This is an unbelievable misuse of time, because would you have to ask you have to go back to a central question that I've been asking now for quite some time. Is this issue criminal? Who cares? Is this somebody you want to have round in your house, in your front room, for tea? And that is the deciding question. Do you want Willie Ragg lifting up your china? Do you want him in the house? Because if you do, then elect him, and he's done nothing wrong. If you think you don't, then that's the test. It's not whether he's done something criminal. It's exactly what the Conservative Party has concluded. It's not a matter of a misuse of funds. It's not. It's a matter of a pattern of behaviour falling below the standard of MPs. Now, if we applied that principle to quite a number of MPs' stories that are coming up again and again and again, not just in the Conservative Party, then quite a number of MPs would have to resign. Now, I think we should have a scheme, a device for triggering that sort of recall. Because at the moment, triggering a recall is actually quite difficult. We should have a much easier trigger. And it should be based not on the question of whether or not somebody has lost the whip or whether somebody has committed a criminal offence. It's whether or not somebody falls below the standard of being an honourable member. If you can't honestly refer to somebody as an honourable member, then they don't belong in the House of Commons. where everyone refers to each other as the honourable member. If somebody fails to live up to that reputation, to live up to that sobriquet, then a recall petition should be launched, or they should be persuaded to resign. Willie Ragg shouldn't stay until the next election. He fails that test. And this isn't about me saying, oh, he's criminal. I'm not. I'm not saying that he's done anything wrong or malicious with money. I'm simply saying that he falls below the test. He falls beneath the test for being an honourable member. He fails that test. And that's about reputation as much as it is about whether or not he may have done anything wrong. In the end, it's as much about Caesar's wife, whether Caesar's wife is worthy of Caesar. Caesar's wife did nothing wrong, but her reputation was ruined. And for that reason, Caesar divorced her. Now, if we're going to call people in Parliament honourable members, we are demanding a level of reputation which merits the term. I have a little list, of course. I have a little list that I would happily wheel out of former honourable members who no longer deserve that appellation. I'm sure you have your own little list. In fact, I think it'd be very exciting to see the little list below of who you think no longer deserves to be called an honourable member. I should point out, by the way, that the police, the Lancashire police, are investigating this matter, and presumably they will have their own opinion. That's their issue. We, as the electorate, should be able to make up our mind as well, and we should have that opportunity. I think if Willie Ragg were the local MP in my constituency, I would want to have that opportunity to replace him. Wouldn't you?